And last but not least, let's talk about Black Adam, right? The long-awaited
Yes.
DCEU film. You know what I mean?
So they really carry the word Rock Nation to our next level here, right?
Soon.
Boy,
You know, every time
Oh,
every time they do that, I was like, over.
you know,
I sat in the cinema. I saw
That's
it in
cracking me up
Gemstone,
every time.
and I did that. I literally was like, it's the rock in the building in the audience.
Yeah.
I, we will talk about this because I have
yeah,
notes.
we will talk about this. Yeah, right. So Black Adam, right? Where do I begin with this, right? So this, of course, is a spin-off of Shazam, right? From 2019, which still remains one of, if not, sorry, well, one of I was going to say the best, but yeah, one of the best DCEU films you've gotten so far, right? Now, for me going into this, right, I will make the comparison to, well, the person who pretty much started off the DCU, Zack Snyder, right? Because I don't know if it was the same thing for you guys, but I noticed some visual cues, and some just some stuff that remind me a lot of like what Snyder did in the past, right?
Slow motion.
Yeah, exactly. But I will make this point to where I feel like this is both a progression of the DCEU and sort of the antithesis, sorry, of the Snyderverse. You know what I mean? Like I feel like this is what if Warner and everybody was just kind of focused and they had a plan and they stuck to it. This is what a show like this would have played out. But because of how things were in the past, with all the ups and downs and just the shift into the quality and just directional that kind of stuff, now it just kind of feels like, all right, we can't do the Snyder stuff again. But it's kind of weird because this one has some Snyder stuff in it, right? It's kind of weird. It's kind of hard to describe, but I will try to articulate it even further when I do my review, right? So, Ricardo, if you don't mind, if you just want to run through what Black Adam is about, and you could jump into your thoughts there.
Sure. Sure. So yeah, back in the ancient past, presumably 5,000 years ago. Even though, okay, so that's a small nitpick. I don't know if I read it weird, but it said 5,000 BC, right? Under the caption. My brain didn't process it fast enough. I had to rewatch it.
I think it is.
Yeah,
Because they
yeah.
said,
Five-
but here's the thing, they keep saying 5,000 years ago in the material, in the actual dialogue, but I saw 5,000 BC. I was like,
yeah, I
No,
think
no,
I used
it wasn't that.
5,000
It wasn't that.
it's
BC,
3,000, right? It's around
It was
3,000 BC.
something along that. Yeah, but it wasn't 5,000 BC. No.
Yeah, because if it's 5,000 BC, that's 7,000 years ago. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, roughly in the ancient past, and long before Mesopotamia, we had Kandak and ancient times of the world and first civilization. And oh boy, they start with the bullshit. We have a magic element called Eternium. Oh boy, I was like, all right,
The most no, like
Yeah,
that
that cracked me up,
that
right?
sounds like the name of a process surgeon. I mean,
It's straight up some avatar business going on here. Like, all right,
That
nice.
reminds me of
Yeah.
He-Man, but okay.
Yeah. So I like, all right, well, but yeah, so it's ancient times, and then you find out this kid who want to change the world because look how messy things are, and slavery and struggle and so on so. And then not so well disguised rock playing his dad says, you had to rescue him and sort him out. And then they jump in the current time about the modern Kandak, which is ostensibly you know, just this basically like a kind of lived in sequence of maybe Palestine or, somewhere where brown people live in, right? That's pretty much what's going on there. And so it's a surprisingly, even though it's very on the surface, surprisingly politicized movie in that sense about Western imperialism and
Yeah.
whatever. And then what happens is that the mom looking for, this ancient event, this crown that apparently supposed to summon some demons. But then when she gets into trouble, she finds the crown, she gets into some trouble, and she yells Shazam name. And, a very bulky no-neck rock shows up. And he kicks a lot of ass, and it was actually pretty badass for what it was. But
oh yeah,
that's pretty much it. So it's just him connecting with her and his son, and there's a whole story involving somebody pretending to be a good guy, but really a bad guy, wanting the crown, and so on and so forth. And it have a whole plot twist involving death and life and so on. So with all of that. And that's it. It's Rock connecting to this kid and trying to modernize himself. And they have a kind of story involving him being, believing in warfare and action and being aggressive, and him having to learn the hard way about what it is to be peaceful and who's champion. And then the JSA is part of this for some reason. Aldous Hodge as Hawkman, Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate.
Dr. Fate.
I forget the Win Gill.
Cyclone, that's the name.
Cyclone.
What was
Cyclone and Atom Smasher.
Well,
Atom Smasher. What was the
there
actors?
because
What was the actors' names? I can't remember the actors' names.
It
Brosnan,
is-
Noel Sedano is Atom Smasher, but I can't tell you what her name is.
Quintessa Swindell is Cyclone.
Quintessa Swindell. I was trying to remember. Yeah. And yeah, it was they came in. For some reason, they had Henry Winkler as someone's uncle. I was like, all right.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That was
So
Atom
the
Smasher
reason for the
uncle.
Justice Society being there, it's because I think way back Silver Age Comics, I think that's the first team that fought the Black Adam.
Yeah.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm aware of the connection, but you know, in this current continuity,
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
right? Why they exist the way it is? Because I'm unclear as the timeline, like how much time passed after Peacemaker, like because they directly connected to Amanda Waller. So like, all right, Amanda Waller still up to stuff, and she formed her own thing, but they don't really kind of don't like she already. And listen, I didn't expect to enjoy Aldous Hodge in this movie as much as I did because like he was really good. Yeah, he constantly getting the ass washer, but he was good. He's pretty good. But yeah,
his one-liners were on point.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like.
Yeah, you know, like there's little running jokes like me and you when we go back to the ship.
Yeah,
Lots
me
of
and
like
you.
No,
what's
he
nice
pulled off
about
a
this?
really excellent Hawkman because, like, in terms of how Hawkman acts,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely nailed it. Yeah.
So yeah, it was just it clearly catered to the more friendly ends of things as when it comes to comic books. They really borrow from a lot of CW and MCU stuff in terms of aesthetic and approach and little storytelling beats and how it flows, but it's still kind of a mess. And I will admit I did have fun. So I went to the very late show in Movietown, thinking you know, it would have a crowd or anything like that. But no, it had like a surprisingly sizable crowd. And this was the last show on Movietown. Like, all right, would. And, you know, it was getting the laughs and the people was enjoying it. And yeah, like Rock, they kind of do the Fast and the Furious thing a little bit. Like it's you know, one white guy and a bunch of brown people and a couple black guys. And then they just make it work in terms of humor and action, and it's kind of a mess. But yeah, they I'm just gonna straight up say it. They Fast and Furious it. Like that's the format. Like just wildness, a lot of fun, not the most coherent script, but it doesn't need to be. And it's I dug it for what it was going into that conceit. But that's about it. I enjoyed it for what it is. And I don't know getting to any big super like stories or written just yet. But yeah.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say that we will get into spoiler territory, right? But yeah. All right, so my thoughts on this show, right? So here's as I said before, in terms of the Snyder First and what he did, right? So the moment they give us the whole setup with Kandak, is Kandaj, right?
Kandak.
Kandak.
Right, Kandak,
Yeah.
sorry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That color green and all that kind of stuff. The bald-headed, Middle Eastern characters and whatnot. Literally one of the main body in this case, literally looking like oh gosh, I forgot the main villain's name.
In True Lies?
In True Lies, yes,
Thinking of.
exactly.
That's
I was
who I
just thinking of
thinking
it.
of.
Yeah.
While I was
Yeah.
watching it.
Exactly, yeah. I just saw 300 right there, and then even right out to the music, I'm like, wait, this feels a lot like 300, you know what I mean?
You know.
And I think that it is done intentionally, which I'll get into, right? And then the story building and all that kind of stuff, and then I must say, like when Black Adam does show up, though, it just lives up to the hype, though. Like he is just such a badass, though.
Yeah.
There's a great moment involving him in this montage with him just wiping out soldiers and helicopters and stuff like that. And the choice of song they used for that, though, was just on point. I loved it. I love everything.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Same.
Also points for, and it catch me by surprise too, the inclusion of the good, the bad, and the ugly, which is
for real,
still my second favorite movie of
cracked me
all
up.
time. Second favorite
Real
movie, right?
cracked me up, Jude.
But the setup of it was great with the TV, and then when Black Adam actually sees it, and he sees Clint Eastwood about to draw, he's
Right.
like, oh, and blows up the TV. I love
Yeah.
that. That was funny, right?
So what's the cool thing about this? Basically, how fast he does like ostensibly learn stuff now. Like you'll just
Yeah.
copy something, copy it, build from it. It's like it's a battle strategy. You just raise it, and in terms of context and statements too. Now, like that is the whole point because he's supposed to have the wisdom of blah blah blah. Now. So it's all of that is part of
Yeah.
it. So like It's
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, so on the subject of Clint Eastwood, right, there was one review that I saw where people were kind of comparing Dwayne Johnson's performance to Clint Eastwood. Now. You know what I mean? That sort of tough exterior But he thinking about a lot of things that he don't show how he feeling inside us. It's all about that tough badassery and stuff like that. And I could kind
I
of
think
see
people
that with
giving
Dwayne
Dwayne
Johnson.
Johnson too much credit
Yeah,
there.
for real,
But,
eh?
That's the thing. That's the thing, right? Because I will say, right, as somebody who like The Rock as as actor, the wrestler, like I said, right? He pretty much is tailor made, sorry, for this performance, boy. He owns it. But at the same time now, I like the fact that he knows, like it feels like he's aware of this, right? He knows his limitations as far as acting goes. So no, he's not doing anything overly dramatic or anything serious. It's just like, all right, I am stoic when I need to be stoic. I will make a reference when I need to make a reference. I'll say a line when I have to say a line. You know what I mean? It's like that, right? But yeah, I know that some people might look at him and say and find that he's wooden or he's not really acting, he's not really trying hard. I think that he is just playing the role the best way that he can, Jen, you know what I mean? So I was at a point I was saying, is this like the best performance I see from Dwayne Johnson? Like, nah, but I will say in terms of him playing Black Adam, yeah, it is great in my opinion. Just because of the little and the lot that he does, you know what I mean, in terms of that character, if that makes sense, right? Now, with that being said, though, with in terms of the movie itself, I'll put it like this, right? This is clearly the DCEU dread swinging for the fences here, but you know what I mean? Because yeah, I mean they have not had the most successful of track records when it came to their films, right? But what I really admire about this movie, Dread, is that they just went balls to the wall with this show. But they just say, here's what this is coming from, and it's so cool they're coming from Warner Brothers. Eh? If you know one thing about big budget, movies, right, or blockbuster films for the past like couple of decades, I would say from since Matrix onward, right? Warner Brothers gonna pump a ton of cash into their movies, right, to make it look as great as possible. It could be like the most over the top, like real silly stuff that they will show you on screen, way, and they will just go out the way to make that shit look as great as possible. And yeah, same thing I could say about this movie, boy. Like it's like I was just like amazed at how, sorry to say it, kind of batshit crazy this movie is, right? It is
Yeah.
so over the top, boy, and
There's
so
a lot
loud.
of movie. There's a lot of movie in this movie.
Yes, boy. There's a lot. Like there's moments involving like slow mo and you're seeing the Rock's face. He's like God screaming, and it's just so stylized. I just watch this thing like wow, water. Wow, all they really swinging for the fences, boy. They really throwing everything, including
as
the
you
kitchen
say,
sink at us, boy. My
as you guys
God.
say, it's the most movie, as Ricardo said, it's the most movie in this movie. For me,
Yeah,
it was the most comic book movie I've seen
I was gonna
DC
say that.
do
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, it
no
is. Yeah.
pride. This is their most comic, and I appreciated that like so much.
Yeah, me too, me too. Yeah, you're right. This is for me, the most comic book movie that we've gotten from DCU, I would say, since Zack Snyder's Justice League, right? Yeah, I mean that's like the perfect comparison, in terms of that, right? Okay, yeah, like I said, they just throw everything, including the kitchen sink at you, boy, and they make it work. It really also reminds me a lot too, ironically, of DC animated movies as well. You know what I mean? In
Right.
terms of where
Yeah.
you have characters, but it kind of light on the characterization. And I'll say that in terms of say the GSA, for example, which I'll talk about in a bit. So it's not heavy on characterization, whatnot, but they get the characters, they get these big, audacious, larger life moments. Like case in point with Atom Smasher. Like I find the moments involving him was just so over the top though, but it worked because yeah, it's a giant man literally walking around
I
and stuff
love
like that.
how they depicted Cyclone's power. I did not expect it, and it was
I like the
beautiful. It's
Yeah.
visual,
gorgeous.
the visuals for her movements look
Yeah.
really really cool though. I won't lie. I don't know anything about the character. By the way, love her hair. I know that's not the actress's hair, but like when she's Cyclone, whoo, I love it, right? But yeah, when she
Yeah.
does her, hair, sorry, wind powers, it looks really cool, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, boy,
Aerokinesis.
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 Aerokinesis. I'm like, boy, I love it.
Yeah.
Let's call it Stormlight.
Pure
Stormlight.
Yeah, Stormlight, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Pure
but
goofiness.
so like when it came to the action sequences, like I already know people probably hated it or probably find it was just too much. It was overkill. Like we when it comes to movies of this nature, it's like you could see the money burning on screen and
Yeah, for
it's just
real.
a bunch of visual effects and blah 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 blah. But here it felt like it needed to be this way because they already
Yeah,
set up just how large
absolutely.
and life and audacious everything is. It. So yeah, they just went ape shit on these visuals where they went ape shit on the action sequences and I just had like a dumb smile on my face throughout the majority of them, right?
Yeah, for real.
Now,
Yeah.
and then it was, but there are a few moments where it's like, yes, it's clearly VFX, blah blah blah. Like especially when you see Black Adam moving quick. But I mean, I'm not no VFX animator, so I can't say how they could have improved that, right? So I just watching all this insanity and just going off, right? But I had to bring up, the whole Zack Snyder stuff again, right? Because like just going into spoilers. So like the moment where like he relinquished his powers now and thanks to Amanda Waller. And by the way, I did not even expect to see Emilia in this. Like I was like, oh shit, you in this too? What? Okay, okay. That cameo came out of nowhere, right? But it worked, right? When he was submerged in the ocean and then he had to kind of come back up, right?
Right.
The moment when he fighting the guards now, um,
You know, you really
yeah,
cut to the ass.
yeah, and yeah, exactly. And how it was just moving, the slow mo, then sped up, slow mo, sped up. That is straight off, right off. That is pulled. That's literally a page pulled right out of
Watchmen.
300.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Watchmen.
what
Yeah.
Watchmen? But
Yeah.
more 300 with King
Right.
Leonidas. That
Right.
moment where he walking with his spear and just
Yeah,
killing
yeah,
all people. Yeah, it's that, right? So yeah, while I really couldn't help but think like while I was watching all this stuff there, like if just imagine, right? If BVS was not the colossal failure that it was, and we actually had gotten the director's cut or at least the original vision of Justice League back in 2017, and not last year when we had to force ourselves to give a shit. You know what I mean? If this was like the progression of how movies like this would have been, right? I'm excluding stuff like say Birds of Prey, right? Because it's some a little bit more smaller scale to than stuff like Justice League and BVS, right? But yeah, if this was how these bigger budget DCEU films would have played out, yeah, they would have had their own like established, universe, if you will, right? But because it was just all these kind of hit or miss efforts in terms of getting people interested, it doesn't really have like a certain style to it, like a certain, you know, yeah, a certain style that carries that carries across from film to film, like how the MCU does, right? Um,
And I actually appreciate that.
yeah,
Personally, I like that not every DC film looks alike, with the exception of the Snyder films.
agreed.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
I
and
will throw this out
uh,
though, just as a random. One of the things there that about that particular statement is if the heads of the different heads of Warner Brothers would take this one page from Marvel, you don't need to do like a connected universe and all this kind of randomness and have a 20-year plan. Just take this one thing. Marvel will sit down. If a movie does well or it doesn't do well, there is a plan that they have for the future. So it doesn't matter that Iron Man 2 and 3 does not resonate the way how Iron Man 1 or some of the other films are. They know where they're headed, and where they're headed was Avengers. Where were the studio heads headed? Because every 5 minutes, you would see them do something, and then it would be like, oh, this didn't work, so let's scrap the plans that we were going to do for DC, and we will figure out what we're going to do with a new plan, and a new plan, and a new plan, and it continues to
Right.
do like that. Sit down and fix on one thing and say, okay, good, bad, or indifferent, we are pushing forward because we know where we eventually want to head, which I would hope would be Darkseid or Flashpoint or something along those lines. That is the only thing they should take from the Marvel cookbook, and that is what I hope they do moving forward.
Right.
right. So don't worry, I'm gonna round up. Just kind of clear my head here, right? So yeah, so overall with this show, it really does feel like if Snyder stayed on board, and there was a plan that Warner Brothers stuck to, yeah, this would have been like just like a natural, if you will, progression of like from like let me just say if this came out after like right after Shazam, right, or right after Justice League, right? yeah, this would have worked, right? And I assume critics wouldn't have mind, you wouldn't have found the visual effects or the action sequences to be too much for them, right? But yeah, because Snyder isn't there now, it's just kind of weird to me that like I'll say it in a nutshell. It feels like if Snyder had watched this, like if Zach had watched this, he'd be like, shit, if I'd stayed on, yeah, this, because yeah, it really does feel like this is the type of film that he would have wanted to make, right? With that being said, though, why I also call this the artist the well, the opposite, I would say, of the Snyderverse now, is that
Is that it's
this
fun?
show does not take exactly. It's fun. It does not take itself too seriously. There's not a
Yeah.
lot of navel gazing, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
And,
And even
not
even
beating
like I
you
was
over the head, like
surprised.
say, not beating you over the head, trying to tell you how big of a deal this situation
Right.
is, like Batman v Superman, for example. It's
Yeah,
having
they
fun.
drop it in there, but with the whole,
But
who are you to tell us what our protector is supposed to look like
right,
and act
right.
like? But they don't. It doesn't feel like I'm being browbeat with it.
Yeah. While I was surprised, I thought the Rock character would have been like taking himself super seriously, but even he had jokes. Like,
Yeah,
all right.
he
Yeah,
did.
He
He
had like the
did.
joke with this the guy that he didn't make it and he saw the guy
He
fall in
didn't
the
make
back.
it. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
that
Like
struck me.
it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, you had to play to the audience. Look,
yeah.
guys, I don't think this is like, let's be clear, it's a mess, eh? Movies are a little
No,
bit about
no, no one can get to,
I
but
would
you good.
right.
say it's nice.
But a little bit of a mess. Not too much of a mess, but a little bit of a mess. But like I was like, yeah, I get what they're going for. Like again, it's very comparable to the Fast and Furious films, which also took a page from the Marvel films in many ways. But that's why I wasn't so mad at any of this. I was like, yeah, they try a thing. Let me just put it like that. They try a thing. So I could be mad at any of it in that way. It's like, yeah, they try to make it work and see what they're going for. But yeah, that's about it.
Right. So you see, I'll just keep talking about the visual effects and over the top stuff, right? That right. So for me, when it came to like the superpowered heroes, right, the metas and all that kind of stuff, I was on board. I was engaged. I was digging, the confrontations between Black Adam and Hawkman, for example. Well, Hawkman, I should say, Aldous Hodge, who plays him. Yeah, great, right? Same thing goes for Pierce Brosnan, who plays Doctor Fate, right?
Oh yeah.
Again, I wish that we got a little bit more characterization out of them. Like there
Right.
was one moment involving Doctor Fate now, where he says he mentioned something about the RAF, right? The Royal Air Force now.
Right.
And I remember
World War I or World War II. It's kind
yeah
of implied how old he is now. Yeah.
Yeah.
right. And there was that one DC animated film, Justice Society World War II,
Yeah.
where I think Dr. Fate was this code breaker, something along that line, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken, right? But yeah, just show you the fact that yes, back in that era, that was when the Justice Society was active, right? So I like that they touch on that. It's one of those blink and you miss it moments though. But I just picked up on it. It's like, oh, okay, right. I like that. Even how his character arc ends with him pretty much dying, but Hawkman pretty much acquiring the helmet. I think that's really great, right? And it just kind of leaves it leaves it open as to what we'll get next, right? Also like the idea of having these two newbies to the team, right? Which is Cyclone and Atom Smasher, right? I just they're like, all right, well, this is the job, all right, cool, there you go. All right, Hawkman getting the ass wash, okay, Dr. Fate too. All right, let's see what we could do, you know what I mean? I do like the sort of subtle political aspect behind it as well too. Remember, like say Team America World Police, where it's like, oh,
Right.
we don't want
Yeah.
your help, foreigners, but here you coming in, talk about oh you want to protect us and save us. We don't need your help, and you're just causing more damage than anything else.
Right.
That was really funny. Um, but where the show kind of falls, in my opinion, though, is with the human characters. By did not really care for what's her face by
It's
Adriana.
yeah, it was only the uncle work for me. Everybody else
Yeah.
didn't really work. The
Yeah,
boy was
Ishmael.
terrible. Yeah, the only uncle worked.
Ooh.
I thought
Oh,
the boy sucked. I didn't really like him. I thought the oh god, who it was, but the main villain was terrible. But it was like,
Ishmael.
well,
Now, that's a
Yeah,
whole other scene unto itself.
right.
yeah,
So, as a safe villain, right? So again, this is yet another Warner property, not just DC, another Warner property that just gives us a tired, weak, kind of pointless villain dread. It looks like super villain of the month as far as DC goes. It looks a certain way, move a certain way and whatnot. How he comes in near the end was just like, all right, well, all that build up and this is it. Although I do like the idea of well, the guy who we who was one of the bad guys. We just thought he was just one of the bad guys basically, right?
Hmm.
I like the idea of he has to go to hell now, and that's how he gets his powers. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like the flip of how
Yeah,
Billy and
that's the story of Sabak.
Right.
The powers he has is demon beast or the
yeah.
lords of hell or whatever you want to call them.
Right. And but it just runs through it pretty quickly though. But I would make the argument that that's how Black Adam, like how Black Adam gets his powers initially. Yeah, that was pretty like quick as well too. Like just blinking him and said, "Oh shit, German Hansu. Oh wow, it just kind of happens quick, right? Yeah, like those moments just kind of move quick, and then they have a fight
Yeah.
and that's it, right? So
Well, I
yeah,
think that
the
comes
villain
back
was
to
kind of weak.
what Tracy was saying of not having a plan going forward. While I do like the surprise element of not knowing what to expect from DC from one film to the next, I do agree with Tracy that without having a plan, it's like, for instance, Marvel had a plan for Thanos, and we got those post-credit sequences that kind of work as one story to give us enough. So when Thanos is introduced, we feel like we know what we need to know about this character. Whereas with Sabak, if they had to, maybe if they wrote it differently, maybe if he was on the journey in the background with them all the time, and we spent some time with him, we got an idea of where his pain or whatever you want to call it is coming from, it would have been more impactful instead of just another mirror villain. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, that I do get we're not having a plan. That's where it suffers because then every movie has a different villain, and it's really hard to do an origin story for your heroes and an origin story for your villain at the exact same time. You know
Right.
what I mean? Without it coming across as we're rushing through all of this to get to that final fight sequence.
Yeah, which unfortunately is what we get here, right? But yeah, I didn't really care for Adriana, so she's this archaeologist. Sorry. Well, I think she is just this resistance fighter, something along that
Well,
line,
she's
right?
a
Yeah,
professor of some history
she's
professor.
a professor,
Right.
yeah. What
Okay,
happened
okay.
is she wanted to move the crown because they were excavating and it would have been found.
Right.
So
Okay,
that
okay.
that was the whole. It's not like she was looking for it for any other reason,
Right.
but
All right.
yeah,
I
my
just felt they could have
annoyance.
developed that just a little bit more, though.
Yeah,
Okay, it
my
almost felt like
annoyance
she
of that
was looking for
character
it.
grew and grew and grew as the movie went along. Because she just kept making terrible decision on top of terrible decision, and
Right.
that's always hard to watch.
And there's like a few moments involving like her son now, which I'll get to, being kidnapped, and like she not even like emoting and all. It's just like you need to find my son, and like there's no like, I'm not saying she should be like crying or whatnot, but I just didn't feel it. I just didn't feel those moments, right? The son himself, boy,
Pretty bad.
I'm on. Oof.
Yeah, he was
Like
kind of bad.
I was trying,
Yeah.
y'all. I was trying to, because I don't know if it's a first time actor or whatnot, but I was
I,
trying to buy into like, all right, maybe
Here's the thing,
just
Here's the thing, The problem is that it again. This is why I keep saying the movie's a little bit of a mess because I thought they was gonna make a really like stronger. If they made a stronger, clearer parallel with the big reveal of the storyline, the big reveal is that it's the dad, not the son, who is
not the
the
son, yeah. Which
right,
was a cool twist.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I thought
I
that was
did.
okay.
I
It's
did
a little
like
reveal.
that. It subverted my expectations because you go in knowing who Black Adam is and his
Well,
background
what
story.
I
When I
thought,
saw they did
what I
that, I was
thought
like,
it
oh,
was,
okay.
no, what I thought it was is that Rock was playing a cameo of his dad, and then when the original kid became got the powers, and he yelled Shazam, it's Black Adam, and I was keep thinking, well, this is supposed to be a little kid though. Why is he so bitter though? Like that's what I
Right.
was thinking.
Yes, I thought it was a kid too in the beginning. I
Right,
said
I
the
thought it
same
was
thing
the
too.
kid,
Yeah.
but then I
Yeah.
was thinking, but if he's a little kid, why he's so bitter? And then they do the reveal of why he's so sour, and I'm like, okay, that's not bad. That's actually pretty, a decent little character beat there. All right,
Yeah.
okay, I don't mad at that. So that's how it felt to me now. But yeah, as I say, I really felt they could have, if they made a better parallel between him and the son, it would have worked now. But it wasn't there at all. It was just like at the end of the beat, it's like, all right, I'm supposed to make a kind of working comparison with the mother and the son. All right, okay, no problem.
I guess so, but yeah,
I
it
guess
was
so.
kind of
Right.
sloppy. But
Yeah, it's
yeah,
sloppy. Very, yes.
yeah, but it was the kid himself. Like I was trying it. I was really trying to, to let the first time just slide by. But it's something about how he delivers the lines, and there's a lot to that they give him to say it. It just falls flat. It's just like no conviction. It's like, oh, okay, you're Black Adam, and you're supposed to be able to do this. And there's like this moment involving it. Visually, it looked really cool, right? Where you're seeing Black Adam more or less, or I should say, not flying up, but more or less dropping
Hovering?
down,
Oh, okay.
just moving slowly down, right? Down like this building, like flights of stairs, basically, right? And you're just seeing Amon just kind of like running down flight of stairs, just talking about, oh, you should change your name, you
Yeah,
shouldn't go
God.
by Ted Adam because Ted Adam just doesn't sound cool, and he just running through all this stuff, and there's no conviction in it. By it's even
Yeah.
worse when they have him just be like one of the main heroes near the end. So I'm gonna
I,
get to the Rockasy building moment now.
I
So they had the goal to have him like on so they had this bit with him, he was rocking this skateboard, right? So there's
Oh,
a
God.
shot there with him on a skateboard having to go and tell the people, all right, we need to rise up, and we need to,
Right.
because near the end of the show, because of reasons, the bad guy now ends up summoning like zombies for reasons,
For some reason, yeah.
skeletons.
well, it is
He's
Yeah,
raising the
but
dead.
again, his powers
Right.
are from hell, so he's
So
gonna
you just
raise
raising the
hell.
water
no,
hill.
but it's like
That's it.
15 minutes into the end of the movie, sure he could do that.
I mean, look,
just
stuff
so
like that.
Here's my
late,
thing,
man.
though. I forgive it because he
Right.
just became Sabak. So,
Right.
it's like, what
20
do you
minutes into
know
the end
you
of
are
the movie, he
capable
became
of?
Sabak.
No,
That's
I
what I'm
just
saying.
assume. Look, I just assume simple thing like this. I just assume that yeah, he's a bad, right? He's a devil person. He could raise the dead, whatever. It must like how you just assume vampire could turn into a bunch of bats. Is that?
Right, yeah.
Is that bullshit?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So they
whatever.
have him now, have it to rally the people and tell them to fight and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and
well,
like,
this part
oh,
this part was
just stop it.
terrible. Yeah, this part was
Just stop it
terrible.
now, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? And
yeah,
then
it
there's
was
this
so
shot afterwards with him like moving in slow mo on the on the
yeah. Well,
skateboard.
that part was
I
terrible.
see these people just walking like, yeah,
That
let's
that
go.
whole
It's like,
that whole
oh,
sequence feel
no.
like a reshoot.
Probably, yeah. But all I know, I laugh when you see everybody just do the what we call
In
the rock
Rockefeller.
sign, the Rockefeller sign,
Yeah,
with the
Rock
diamonds.
Nation.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was me and somebody else, but yeah, the Rockers in the building too. Like, I say something a little different along that line, but yeah, we mentioned Rockefeller, right? But yeah, I mean, there's no way to not watch that and not think about Rockefeller, right? It's so funny because the Rock himself is in this movie, right? But whatever, right? Last thing, last though, yeah, talk about that mid-credit scene.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So okay, so I didn't see the post. It have two scenes or one scene?
One.
One.
Okay,
I
okay.
say,
Well,
I
I
say till the end, but
I
it
say
is,
for that one.
yeah.
I say for
Yeah,
that one. Okay, no
ask
problem.
my good friend who does find out these things beforehand. He say no, it's just one mid-credit scene, right?
Right.
Now beforehand, I was surprised that McGill Viola Davis was in this. I went in
Well, she showed up
not
before.
expected her to be in the movie in general. Yeah, I went in
Right,
not
right.
expected to see her, and it's like, all right, you in this too? Okay.
Yeah.
And on the subject of that, before I get to the credit scene, and then I'll wrap up. Sorry. It was kind of weird how the GSC team was set up because me just knowing what I've seen with Amanda in Suicide Squad, right? She assembles these people, and they work for her, they do a job, right? But it's the GSC now, so why we have this moment? This was me going in, right? Why we have this moment where it just kind of felt, I guess it's how it's edited or whatnot, right? It just kind of felt like, okay, well, Amanda just talked to Hawkman or Carter and say, all right, yeah, just find me some people now. And he finds some people, but it didn't feel to me like they were already part of the team, right? It just felt like, all right, I know a person, I know a person, I know a person. And then when you come together, it's like, yeah, we're the GSC now. It's like, no, well, if the team was together, yeah, just bring the whole team together and not have this thing involving, okay, we need to see Atom Smasher come in, and then come in. And I get what the show is trying to do, but it felt almost like a Suicide Squad moment where it's just people who never saw each other. That's the point again, that who never saw each other, pretty much kind of working for the first time, and
Right.
now they're a
Well,
team.
I have a
I
theory
think
on that,
I
but
think they didn't. It's not a matter of
As I said, I don't know what the timeline was. That was my whole
yeah,
thing with
that's the
that.
thing.
Exactly.
I think there is a JSA, and there's like different people, like even in the cartoons, let's say there's something happening, and the Watchtower will say, well, send Martian Manhunter and send Flash and whatever to this part, and then send these other people to handle this here. It's kind of like that was going on because
Right, but they know it.
what
But
I
but the thing is, they know each other in the Justice League. In
Right.
the GSA,
but
they
they
now
did,
meeting each other.
because Fate,
Right?
Fate and Hoffman had a pre-existing
Right. That's
relationship.
what I was saying. So they're
Um,
just
That was the only
yeah.
thing.
No,
But
no,
Cyclone and
actually,
Atom
No,
Smasher never
no.
met each other.
So Cyclone actually knew Hawkman before.
Right,
She
right.
also had a pre-existing. She had worked with him before. Atom Smasher
Oh,
is the new guy on the team.
Right.
because he's kind of taken over for Henry Winkler, which is I don't get that, but okay.
No, no, no. I
I
need more of that.
And
I need more
kind
of that
of thing
backstory.
going on there,
Yeah.
yeah. Right. And I agree. We needed more backstory, but it was it was clumsily done, Matthew, but
Yeah.
they definitely were team
No, I say
members there.
it feel like three movies in one movie. Like it felt like that. Like it's like, oh, they have Black Adam and his stuff, JSA stuff, and then extra stuff that kind of fitted into the JSA stuff, kind of maybe. Like, okay, we have two movies on or three. I don't really know what's going on here. That's what I say. Super
The-
messy movie.
The
Yeah, go
thing
ahead,
for
sorry.
me though,
Yeah.
sorry, the thing for me though is that watching how they formed, how I interpreted it, and this was just me. Amanda is the kind of person, she has her own task force and she knows in terms of getting her criminals to do this, all her random BS. But she would know these people on the periphery because I get the idea that Carter, especially with that X-Men mansion that he has in Louisiana,
I
that he
know,
would
right?
have, he would have amassed his wealth and stuff from like the 40s or the thereabouts because I mean Hawkman tends to come back every five,
Yeah.
like he dies and he comes back and he dies, he comes back. That's
Right.
his thing. So for me, like when she called, when Amanda calls, Hawkman calls Carter and is like, you need to go deal with this. That is something in terms of an overt. Okay, the overt heroes, she would know them on the periphery and would have something of a working relationship, tying back in a way to like in that same animated series. Like she knows who Bruce is and she knows who the rest of them is. And even when like sometimes she's antagonistic to them and sometimes she would be like, look, I kind of need your help, but we're gonna keep it on our interaction on the low because I don't like you. And that's kind of so when she started calling them and the rest of them came in, that is how I interpreted it. What I
Okay.
will throw out as a random, I want to see because I know he said that there's more Dr. Fate and stuff that's going to be happening in the works. But I want to get more of the backstory of Henry Winkler being the original, maybe 1940s, 1960s atom smasher that passes on the suit. I saw that when I saw Henry Winkler on screen. I was like, I need more of that. I need more information about that.
I think we all did when we saw that cameo. Cause that cameo came out of nowhere, right? So I'm around up here because I've been talking really long about this, right? But yeah, the mid credit scene. What I will say is that it was kind of spoiled a bit, like for me. Sometimes what happens is that when I go on YouTube, and like a review comes out or like a breakdown or spoiler review comes out, right? You just see like you glance at one image and you already know what to expect. So I knew that Superman was gonna be in this, right? It's just
Right.
how it's gonna happen, right?
I'm glad I
Um,
didn't.
Yeah,
And,
right.
and
Okay, so
and
this
people
was
I
this
saw
was
it with
yeah,
didn't as well, so they
this
went
was
crazy.
yeah, no, this was kind of spoiled for me. Kind of spoiled for me. So I was like, but I didn't see the scene or anything like that. But everybody said, "Yeah, Superman come back." Ah, yeah, okay, well, let me just see it until I see
And
it.
then also
I
because
get it
the
over.
news with Henry Cavill signing up to
Right.
to do Man of Steel 2. I mean, wow, like finally, right? We're getting Man of Steel 2, right? And right after BVS, right? Look at that. Ha 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 ha. Again, no plan, right? But anyway, but I do like the setup where I make the joke where like I don't know where it's actually set, where it takes place, where you see Black Adam kind of show up, right? But I make the joke because of how the planet itself like it looked like a moon basically. I made a joke like, oh, we gonna get Thanos, sir. You know what I mean? Because of how it looked, the setup and everything, right? But I do like that you saw this little hologram of Amanda. You talk about basically you could do what you had to do in your little state and whatnot. But if you step out of it, you'll have to deal with us, right? And that's where Superman coming, right? Now y'all have to help me out with this one, right? So remember we only saw the director's cut of Justice League once, right? Well, I don't know about you, Tracy, but I only saw it once, right?
Yeah, I saw it a few times.
All right. So did Clark abandon the black suit near the end and go back to the original colors?
Yeah,
Yes.
we kind of
Yes,
got
he
that.
did.
Yeah. Well, wasn't that in the ending where he
Yeah,
opened
it
his?
was in the ending. In the ending,
Yeah.
he was wearing the black and red suit. Yeah.
What are we talking?
Right.
We're talking about Zach's version.
Zach's version, yeah.
Because
I can't
yeah,
remember where he did the switch near the end though, for some reason.
Normally,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a big switch, it's just a suit. Like, I mean, you don't know
Yeah.
what it is,
I
Yeah, it doesn't
continue
really
to
matter.
again a
Yeah.
plan,
What
right?
continuity is it?
I
A
don't think
suit.
so. No,
Switches
he's
all the
not.
time.
He's
no,
not
look,
that. Black
don't
suit
remember
Superman
much.
represents a Superman who is kind of lost. So
I
obviously we want to move away from that Superman. We all
right.
want hopeful soups. And
I
Was
hopeful
it?
All right.
soups has
I
to
just
wear
see
his
it as
color.
black suit, solar suit. He need to heal up. Solar suit, he wear the solar suit.
Right.
That is it.
There,
Right.
No
Right.
overthinking it.
So, right. So, Summer, as you say about hope, right? So I
Mhm.
do like, although I don't remember everything that Superman said, but I do like the where he says,
We
let's
need to
talk or
talk.
something along that line. Yeah, we need to talk,
Yeah,
right?
we need to talk.
What the one takeaway from that, or and yes, in case you're wondering, I am one of the few people who actually clapped my heart out when Superman showed up.
No, trust
I
me, the
didn't
whole
bawl, but I
Alright.
clapped.
Superman, I
I know
was in
about
clap.
I
So
know what clapped, but I was like, yeah.
oh
Like
no,
it's good
that
to,
was a
Or,
moment.
I was
or,
just
or,
glad
or
to,
really,
I was just
really,
glad to
Ricardo,
see
you were like,
the
oh, okay,
cinema
okay,
I
okay.
saw it, it was like I haven't seen that level of excitement since early like phase one, phase two Marvel. So the cinema
right.
I was
Somebody
in
was
was
saying
very
that online
excited.
today.
Everybody clapped and cheered.
Somebody was
Yeah.
saying just that this
Oh,
morning.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's some myself say that online.
No,
But
no, no. Coy. There's a guy I follow called Coy Jandro,
okay.
who was because he does this kind of, and he was talking about the idea of that said same thing about not being as excited since Marvel Phase One, and that
Okay.
was yeah.
I look, my attitude was like, I was like, I just glad to see he back again. He's verified as back again. Great. That is about it. As opposed to Ben Affleck, we're not sure what's going on there because he's still referenced. Let us be clear about that. He was referenced directly
Mhm,
in the
mhm.
storyline. We see a shot of him. So it's like, all right, well, is he still in it or not? Not sure, but yeah, he probably not, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I just was glad to see Henry Cavill back in it. Listen, the one thing about Henry Cavill, my attitude was he never really got a fair shake as a Superman, in my opinion. Sorry. Zack Snyder really shit the bed with all of his material. Don't really work. Never really get a fair shot. Let him get a good script. Let him get a good director. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on now. Get a
Yeah.
proper Man of Steel 2, Man of Tomorrow, something. We're not sure.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
so
so
just yeah, go ahead. I
yeah,
just wanted to
right.
my
So,
last
so
point on
last,
Rachel.
all right. So last point, I'll get to written, then you get to read Ricardo, then Tracy and Summer will share the thoughts, right? So what the one takeaway from that scene for me now was just hearing a little like variation of the John Williams Superman
Mm-hmm.
team. Like what I did, I was
Mm-hmm.
Right,
like,
Yep.
right.
Yep. Yep.
okay,
Yep.
all right. I'm excited. I
Hopeful.
like this. Okay, cool. Right. So yeah, it including yeah, it is messy. It is all over the place of what they do. But I do like that this is Warner and DC pretty much saying, yeah, in case y'all forget, this is the kind of shit that we do. I'm not talking about like bad writing and whatnot, right? But I talk about just flashy visuals, just over the top, insane action sequences, Jen. This is what Warner have been doing for a long while, Jen. For DC to say, yes, let's bring that into our film. You know what I mean? Because yeah, like I said, the last time we really got some of this level was literally the director's cut of Justice League, right? But yeah, they swung for the fences, man. I mean, there's some misses here or there, but there's some hits here or there as well too, man. And I really had to applaud them for just being audacious to just say, here's what we just going big, we just going crazy with this shit. You know what I mean? So yeah, for me, rating wise, I'm gonna give this a lighter, decent 3.5 out of 5, man. This is, if you could see it theatrically, I mean, yes, please do. But I would say don't go in expecting some sort of deep, complex story. Don't go in expecting fully fleshed out characters. I think this is where the show kind of falls, admittedly. But for me, I could kind of make the argument and say, well, the DC animated films was kind of lighter characterization as well too. You know what I mean? But I do agree with you, Summer. This really is the most comic book DCEU film that we've ever gotten actually, and I don't
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering what we're gonna get next in terms of DCEU content. I'm not saying all of them gonna copy the same formula, right? But just in terms of just bold audacious way, this one really stands out, right? But there admittedly there could have been a lot more improvement in terms of the story. Oh, I forgot to mention one last thing. um why is Intergang in this movie? I forgot to ask that.
I don't know.
Like really, when you think about it, you could have taken them out. It wouldn't have affected the story at
Yeah,
all.
I don't know. Well,
I guess
I don't.
if you want,
It kind of weird that they call it. They do Intergang because Intergang is such a dark side thing now. So that's the only hint. Oh, they're going to do dark side maybe, right? Because Intergang
yeah,
is like directly connected to Apocalypse and them now.
right.
Yeah,
I get it until the film like, okay, well, we don't want to show Black Adam kill soldiers who serve in a country and whatnot.
pretty much. It's
So we just have
mercenaries.
this random gang with tech now, and then Black Adam just kill all of them, right? So we could get
Yeah,
away with it.
that's
Ha
pretty
ha
much
ha,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, you could have
Yeah.
take them out. It's like there was no purpose. Like I understand the saying, well, foreign party came to our country, pretty much mining Eternia, whatever it is, and they're ruling the state with an iron fist, whatever it is. So that's why they don't trust, foreign people coming in like heroes now. When the
Yeah.
GSA come in, it's like boo, you know what I mean? Like I understand that, but still, there was no need for Intergang, right? But anyway, but yeah, Dwayne Johnson really commits to it, though. I won't lie, like I would say he pull off. Sorry, I wouldn't say that he pulled off the best performance of his career, though. But you could tell that he really wanted to do this, and the man did a great job for his range. I would say in that way. But yeah, if I'll just close with this, right? In a year where, sorry to say, the MCU has been kind of hit or miss, even though I've been enjoying this stuff for the most part, boy. Not gonna say that this movie here is gonna be make it to my best of list, but this is one I can remember as just one of the wildest, craziest, intentionally batshit crazy and just straight up fun superhero films that we've gotten this year, bar none, man. I won't lie. So, Summer, your review. Well, sorry. Ricardo, final thoughts and rating.
Yeah, for me, it's one of those weird conceits where on the one end, I think it's fun, and I get what they're going for. They swing for the fences. There's a quick little plot thing. I thought they were gonna do the Hawkman reincarnation thing because when he said that he died, because Hawkman is reincarnate. Like,
Yes,
that's
all the time.
that's
Yeah.
what I thought he was gonna do. Like, to be honest, so it's like also when Fate said, but then I thought Fate would have known that he reincarnates. So whatever. Anyway,
Yeah, I agree. They could have added that, man, but
whatever. But the point is, I'm glad.
characterization, right?
But the thing is, Dr. Fate had to come back too because like that magic and eternal, blah 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 blah, whatever. As I say, last point, boy. Yeah, it's clearly a vehicle for Dwayne Johnson. Like, look, it's a Dwayne Johnson ego project. Dwayne Johnson was pushing for this bullshit for how long now? Like I think
15 years, I think.
yeah, I think he was pushing. He
Yeah.
was pushing for this. He was pushing for this before even the MCU existed, if I remember correctly.
It's his Deadpool. It's his
It-
Deadpool.
yes,
yeah.
right,
He's
yes.
wanted it forever.
Because everybody
Yeah.
say that. Like, he doesn't look like Black Adam. And I was always on record by saying I always felt he should have been Shazam. Right? I always believed that he should have been Shazam. And they could have, make him the fun, goofy adult version of a kid now. And it does make Shazam a Polynesian character now, effectively now. That was always my attitude towards that.
Right.
But whatever. He just looked like Black Adam. He nailed the look. Everybody was talking about the look. He have a big bulky body with no neck. It's huge. Like there's a shot from behind that had me cracking up because that is old one behind me. I'm like, well, look how big his neck is now.
I remember that.
Yes, hell. Yeah, because it's like it was real funny though. But like it was he was just bulky and huge, and he really commanded the screen presence. I can't be mad at any of that. Like he make it work. Like it for what it was. We wait a very long time. But we finally got it. And I'm sure he had to turn on a ton of roles on MCU because he really wanted this vehicle pushing for it. So, my boy, you get through, if you take a while, but you get through. I can't be mad at it. And I can't lie and say, look, it was fun. It's a mess, but it was fun. I really wish that they could have stitched it up a little better and make it work. I think the mistake was putting too much movie in movie. But I enjoyed it for what it was. And yeah, rating wise, I'll give it like a 7 out of 10. It is a mess. There's a lot of messy plotting and clumsiness in it. And it does like when you see it on Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic, it have like all 4 out of 10. I think like, yeah, that's why anybody would say that. But I had a ton of fun with it. And I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did, mostly because everybody was bouncing off each other pretty well. That's the main thing. I was really surprised at Atom Smasher and what's her name? Dwayne Gill.
Cyclone,
right.
Cyclone?
Yeah, I don't know this character, like, to be honest. Like, I don't know where she's from. Like, is she a character? Like, seriously?
Yeah,
Like,
she
is
is, but
is that DC character?
I think that it's a DC character. Yeah, she's
Okay.
actually shown up in a couple of I think Teen Titans, Young Justice or something like that. I think I saw her in.
Okay.
I read it up here on Wikipedia. Here, she's
Right.
the granddaughter of the original Red Tornado. Okay.
Right. But Red Tornado, which one? The robot or the original human one? Okay, whatever.
Well,
Point
the
is-
human from what
Right.
I've
Right.
seen here.
Anyway, but point is, they make it work for what it was. Look, I know my DC, but I know my DC that much, right? So they pull out obscure character, but she was great. I find everybody is bouncing off each other really good. The only thing that undermined the thing, I felt they really could have. It had the Transformers problem. Them normal people, bad. Oh gosh, the mother and she son didn't work. Like I get what it was going for.
Oh boy.
They didn't work, but they didn't work. It's only the uncle saved them. The uncle was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
actually a really like good character and make it work. And that dude was like legit funny. And he had like a lot of
Yeah,
great
yeah.
lines.
And
And
he have great
Yeah,
taste in music, by the
yeah.
way, even though it's
right,
one song he's playing. That
Baby,
baby
right.
come back.
Yeah, but they make it work for it was. I can't be mad at it, and they get it audience. And again, I don't know if this is my intention, but like is they doing the Bronx people get into music into Middle Eastern people get it into the superhero thing now with Moon Knight and all this. Like, hey, they doing the thing. I can't be mad. Yes, about a 10. I had fun. I didn't expect I had fun. I didn't have to get drunk to have fun or any of that shit. I was just enjoying it. And it was a good. I think because the crowd had such a good energy I had with it. I think that's a big factor in me enjoying it as much as I did. So that's about
It
it.
always is.
You're right. Right.
Right. All right. So Summer, take it away. I mean, Ricardo and I, we talk long enough, but yeah, Summer, you have the floor. You have the floor. Sorry, your thoughts on Black Adam.
Um, I had fun with it. I had a blast with it. Funny enough, I think you guys know I avoid trailers as much as possible. I did watch the first trailer for this, and the energy I got from that trailer pretty much told me what I was gonna get from this. At least I was hoping. And it did. It did. The trailer very much represents the energy, the vibe, and the acting and everything that you're gonna be getting from it. I loved the costume designs. They nailed it. I was so excited to see how good Hawkman looked. Alice
Yep.
Hodge was amazing in the role.
Yeah.
P.S. Brosnan, that Dr. Fate costume, I was just
Great.
cheering because, like I
Yeah.
said, it's so comic booky.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
love that they finally embrace that their comic book roots and stop acting like if it's a dirty word to say, I have this, we're doing a superhero movie, but we want to make it grounded.
Yeah. That
I mean,
bullshit. Yeah.
come on, right? It's a comic book. And as for as for The Rock as Black Adam, loved his look. The acting for me was very Terminator 2. I kept comparing the relationship with him and the boy as John Connor,
Right. Right. A little bit.
and
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
it
Yes.
too, right? But I'm like, yeah, but Black Adam, you're not a robot. Show me something besides these three facial expressions that you're showing me. That said, I do feel like The Rock, as you guys said, he did the best that he could with this character. And I also liked that there was a sense of emotional growth as it went along.
Right.
So by the end, that moment he had with Superman, we actually see him kind of smirk, oh, we have to talk, that is what I want to see. I want to, because Black Adam is DC's version of Doctor Doom. This man who his investment is in his people and his country only. He does not care about the outside world beyond that. At least
Right.
the newer version. We're talking anti-hero Black Adam here, though, not the villainous one that wanted to rule the world. And I felt like that I got enough of that to enjoy the character as a whole, but even with the flaws of The Rock moving around like a robot for the first half of it. I also have to give him props that he paid attention. You could tell he really does love this character in that certain things he would do, like the constant hovering instead of landing.
Just
When he would
walking.
talk
Yeah.
to Hawkman, him feeling that he is quote unquote above everybody. So he hovers. He does not walk, that kind of thing, unless he has to. And the pose on the throne in the end, that pose is right off of a comic book. It down to
Yes.
the positioning of the legs.
Mhm.
I love
Well,
stuff
sorry to
like
stop
that.
you there,
I
but
love
but
when
I think that even
Mhm.
that shot is supposed to be kind of anti-Snyderverse now, like, oh wow, you know what I mean? Like if it was a
Yeah,
Snyder film,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Not knocking Zack, of course, right? Yes, the
yeah.
bad guy becomes a
But even
hero
not
and now
Zach,
he
because
rules. Yes. But nah,
listen,
any of it is like
I am not
forget
a
that
fan.
throne. I'm done.
I'm not a fan of of most of what Zack Snyder has done it to the DC movies. You guys know that because I couldn't handle how his take on some of these characters. Visually fine, but story wise and character wise, he kind of sucked all the fun out of it for me. So I was happy to see, yeah, this slow motion stuff. It definitely feels like they took a page out of Snyder's book.
Yeah.
However, because of the fact that everything is so colorful and so vibrant, and for want of a better word, not it's so juvenile that it just worked for me that I was just glad they weren't trying to copy him 100%, as I really want to move beyond Snyderverse. because I feel like that limits too much what who these characters are, and what these stories are capable of. Um, the villain, I mean, I love the look of Sabak. He looked just like he looks in the comics, but yeah, there was zero development into
Yeah.
that character. Sadly, we just had another guy who figured he was entitled to power, and that's it. You know, the thing about this entire thing as a whole for me is that I could forgive the flaws because the movie is fun. The
Yeah.
movie was entertaining, and so I wouldn't sit and pick it apart as much as I would a movie that disappointed me from beginning to end, kind of thing. The characters, I want to see more of these people, with the exception, of course. I do agree with you guys. The human characters in this, wow, what a waste. Um, but I want to see more of these characters, and I want to see not the flaws aspect, but I want to see more of this energy coming from Warner and DC going forward. This for me feels like they have something. It's not quite right, but this could definitely work, especially if you start to map things out a bit better, and not rush through so much. Because it's funny, for the movie's 2 hours long, but I feel like it could have done with an extra half an hour, just to give us that edge we needed on these characters and tighten up some of the story stuff.
Right.
I did like that they subverted my expectations with the Black Adam story, as you guys pointed out, with him, it being a kid, and we thinking it's a kid, but it's not. All of that worked for me. I missed the pointy ears though. I really,
Right.
I kind of wanted him to have the pointy ears.
Well, they had a shot. They had a shot when he just the kid turned to Black Adam for the first time. It would look like the original. You notice that? It was really fast.
Yes, it
Mhm.
did.
Yeah, it was
did.
really fast. I was like,
And,
okay, I can see what they're going for. Right. No, I say they
yeah,
do
I
their
love the
thing. They do their
campaign.
thing.
Yeah, we got the Black Adam costumes. We got both of them. And I love that the prison, the idea behind that prison. I even thought maybe they were going for like an Aquaman thing there. But yeah, I really like the black site. Overall, I had a ton of fun with this. I can forgive the mistakes, and I think all of us can. You can forgive a film these types of missteps when it delivers on the entertainment factor the way this one does. So for me, I would say, yeah, a 7 to 7.5 out of 10. Um, I think they got what they wanted out of it. Hopefully going forward, they'll just look back and not think, well, oh, this is exactly what people want. No, 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 no. Just you need to slow down a little bit. Fix some things here, fix that character. These lack of character development you have. Don't rush so much, but still give us this energy. So yeah,
Right.
for me it's a 7.5 to 10.
All right, so Tracy, to close things off, your thoughts on Black Adam.
So I want to start off by going to the very end, and then we'll come up. There is a report that came out that Walter Hamada, being Walter Hamada as usual, wanted to do the same thing that they did in Shazam with a headless Superman. And Dwayne apparently moved around that particular producer and went and spoke to two other people within the Warner Studios to try and get Henry's face in it. So that deal happened apparently in September. So this is after Comic-Con. So that deal happened in September, and that is how we get him coming back full and fleshed out and everything, and saying things like, it's been a lot. What was the line? It's been a while since someone, I can't remember the exact words, but basically it's been a while since someone, terrified the earth. We need to talk. And that, for me, just proves, in terms of when Dwayne is invested in something, he will try and do as much as he can. I wouldn't say move heaven and earth, but basically try as much as he can in order to make that happen. I went in and I sat down in Gemstone because I had some stuff that I needed to do this weekend. So I decided I'll take the early morning show at Gemstone. And I had so much fun. I actually started scribbling down stuff here on my phone in the movie. And I will say there are things about it that are obviously messy. I didn't need the opening narration from the little boy Amon. I didn't need the opening narration. He felt, you know what he felt to me as? He felt like, and I don't know how to say this without not necessarily sounding like an idiot, but he felt like a brown Freddy, you know, Freddy from Shazam. So like he had the same kind of, you know, over the top about superheroes and all this kind of stuff. There was something about him that I was like, okay, I can take that and I can match it as Freddy, and that would have been fine. But this movie for me gave me so much good fun and so much lines that are going to be stuck in my brain, like this one. He's there being himself, and the mother's telling Amon's mother is telling Black Adam, I don't want you to teach my son that violence is the answer. And he says, oh, I understand. You want his father to teach him violence. No.
The audience I was with was cracked up at that though, myself included.
Yeah, and then you know he ends with well,
he kept getting the line wrong. He kept the delivery of the line. What is it? Tell him the man in black.
Tell him the man in black.
Right. Yeah.
Before he said it, I know you
catchphrase
before.
Yeah. Catchphrase before kill. You know,
that actually crashing through all the walls was killing me. You know, it's like open a door and
because it's back. I you know, and then he's like sarcasm and that kind of stuff like that. There was something in that little moment where he and Fate was talking, and he was talking about sarcasm and thing that reminded me a little bit about Drax, but that's another story all by itself.
Right. I was thinking, I said they borrowed a lot of stuff from MCU.
My heights for this movie, when I have this note at the end of everything that says it's 1 part The Mummy, 1 part Walking Dead, 4 parts Avatar Kyoshi, because Avatar Kyoshi is very much like people need to be murdered. That's how you deal with justice, and that's, you know, how we move. And he's very much like that. He's like, no, we're not. You're not going to keep these people there and have them, you know, in some court or something. He fell. He didn't make it. And I have here 1 part Scorpion King CGI, because that main villain, who to be honest with you, I really didn't need. Like, I feel like, you know, there are some movies I feel like maybe you don't necessarily need a main overarching villain. What if it was just the idea of him just swerving his belief systems from kill, vengeance to, okay, let's try and find a more peaceful way and work through his thing. That would have been fine for me, and I'm perfectly cool. But when he became Summer, remind me, what's the name of the overarching villain's name again?
Sabak.
When he became Sabak, and that CGI of it reminded me of watching the Mummy Part 2, and that whole when the Scorpion King comes out and the CGI for that was not fun for me. But I will say I in terms of my overall feeling for the movie, and even the score, you know me, I'm one of those people who love a good soundtrack. And when I was listening to it on YouTube, because they had released 1 or 2 of the tracks, I was like, this is very mid. And of all people, Lorne Balfe is the one who's making it. So I expected Lorne Balfe did Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible 5. I think that one. He did that one.
I think so. Yeah.
So I'm expecting a bit more. So it was feeling a bit mid. But I'm sitting there listening to the theme, and then the end credits comes on, and that theme soars.
You felt it, dude. When that team played during the end credits, I was like, I feel the chills though. I was feeling.
I need that theme now, so I have to go and bite my tongue and go back and actually get my hands on that soundtrack. That is going to be a thing. What else is here that I think? There's a line that Fate says the world doesn't need. Maybe the world doesn't need a white knight. It needs something darker. I think that was when he was deciding to help free Black Adam, Teth Adam, to come out and save them again and that kind of stuff. And that line I quite like. There are some pieces of the dialogue that, yes, is clunky, maybe not necessarily needed, but I still feel like maybe if we get these same characters in a Black Adam 2, even the little boy Amon and his mother and all of them, I feel by then everybody is settled into their roles and you can get a little bit more out of that. He did say, this is Dwayne Johnson, he did say that it's not the end of Dr. Fate. And I, for one, am thoroughly excited because I like Strange. I really like Strange, but I have been a Dr. Fate boy, and it really is annoying to me. Like, I sat down in the back of the cinema and I was thinking, how long have you been a Dr. Fate fan? And I have yet to actually either buy or have made a helmet of Naboo. So seeing him on the big screen and seeing him done so well, at least by my standards, he's done so well by Pierce Brosnan. And I mean, you can't go wrong with James Bond being, Dr. Fate. I enjoyed it. I very much loved it. I liked Hawkman. I do agree with you guys. I really wish that he had done a little bit more of the talking about the reincarnation, because if I remember correctly, it's like when he dies, like Shaira will show up, but he dies and then he comes back again, and there's always that kind of star-crossed lovers thing that is happening. So I had assumed that we would tap into that. I say over. Go ahead, Summer.
Sorry, by the way, did anybody else think they were billing up Amon to wear the helmet of Naboo? I kind of thought at one point when they put the helmet down, and I mean they had the boy wearing the cape and so, and I thought maybe he would have come in, see the helmet, and put it on.
Okay, no, I didn't make that connection because again, it is a mess.
Yeah, I just felt like they were trying to build this boy up to be some type of future superhero at some point,
Oh.
So when
if they got a better actor to play him, and he was much more convincing in the role, maybe a little bit older, to be honest. He would. It could have been the new Dr. Fate.
As Tracy's saying, maybe with time, if they do bring them back, they will be a bit more comfortable in role,
I'm willing to see them again in a episode. Sorry, not episode, but in a sequel. That will work in terms of how that plays out. Things I'd like to see moving forward, I would love to see, because I know he says that we haven't seen the end of Dr. Fate, so I would love for them to do an HBO Max show, bring in Clarion the Witch Boy. That would just be so much goodness for me. I would love to see JSA back in the 40s and 50s, because even when Dr. Fate started talking about in the war in the 40s and that kind of stuff, I thought there was going to do a connection with Diana, because Diana fought in World War I, and then she was there in Trafalgar Square watching everything happen at the end of the war and realizing mourning Steve and all that kind of stuff. So I was wondering if he would have known her because he's old and all that. Anyhow, point is, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I could understand why someone may not necessarily enjoy it. Yes, there are parts that are messy, but I had such a blast, and I was unnaturally excited going into this movie to see it, and I am glad that I did see it. I'm going to give it a 7.5. And I will say one of the random things that I felt really good about at the end was seeing Dwayne Johnson, PGA, Producers Guild of America, PGA, at the end of the credits. It's like, man, after all your work and from wrestler to B movies to doing whatever it is to being your own, having your own production house and being a producer, there was something about seeing Dwayne Johnson, PGA, that just made me feel really good. Overall, I enjoyed it, and I really had fun. I really did have fun with Black Adam.